Yo, how are we doing, everybody? So today I'm doing a guide on chapter 19, Hold Fast to Courage. Now, this chapter is definitely pretty difficult. I don't think it's as bad as the previous chapter. This one was a little bit easier for me to do, but definitely it was a lot of the preparation I did getting ready for the previous chapter that allowed me to be able to do this one as quickly as I did. Definitely make sure you have everyone leveled up, which again you can gain levels in the encampment. Make sure you have everyone fully upgraded, both their weapons and as many people upgraded in their classes with like the medals of valor as you can. It's just going to be super useful to have these high stats. Without the high stats, it's quite a bit harder. As for the actual strategy I'm going to be using here, essentially almost everyone, I'm going to be moving them over to the left. We're going to get off of the goddess stage, that little stand there. The idea is that the enemies basically come from two sides. They're going to be coming from the left or the right. And if we position to the left of the goddess's stand here, a lot of them will come up the stand and get stuck in like the stair area as long as you have that blocked off. And then over here on the left, optimally what I would like to do is have my troops positioned in such a way that essentially they I can have my own units in the back, like behind the wooden bridge, whereas I would like to encourage the enemy units to be in front of the wooden bridge. While obviously I can't completely control the AI, it is manipulated based on my positioning and actions, 100% for sure, but I don't completely control it. But either way, I was trying out a few different positionings, and this was the one that worked out the best for me. As for Anna and Huet, I basically have them performing a different task. They are basically going to be my control for the enemies coming from the right side, as there's just too many enemies, especially of the archer variety. I don't want these archers to just be able to take over the goddess's stand and shoot off a bunch of shots into my guys. So trying to slow them down a bit. Like right here we have the blinding arrow. Blind is super good as it generally goes off nearly 100% of the time, and when enemies are attacking while blinded, obviously they're very prone to missing. So right here again, I'm trying to control the wooden bridge on the left side. I don't want the enemies to be standing on it where I can control, though it's a bit difficult as the AI is definitely set to walk down the wooden bridge itself. So it takes a little bit to get them to walk off of it, though thankfully enemies coming from the polar opposite side of the goddess's stand are very likely to walk into this watery section here in the center. And the main reason for that, that I want them to do this, is that I can shock them. Basically wherever I am, it doesn't matter as long as I have a caster. I'm using the shaman here myself. But as long as I have a caster that can use the shock spell, the lightning element, then I can shock the water and it will hit everyone that is standing in that section of the water. Mind you, the enemy also is going to be using a couple mages that have that electric element. So if you are not careful, they can do the same thing to you, which is why I'll be positioning some of my troops in the backwater section and the rest of my troops on the bridge. As long as they're on the bridge, they will not get shocked. If they're in the backwater section, they will only be shocked if specifically that backwater section is being targeted. The sections are divided by the wooden bridge, and right there you can see that I was able to get that shock off. I'm not quite sure what the percentage is, but there is a small chance when you shock everyone that you will paralyze them. So with good RNG, this can be a very, very easy fight potentially. So having someone that can use electric type spells, super useful. Personally, rather than having two mages that use electric, I'll be using Frederica, who is fire based. I think it can be easier with the 2 electric casters, but I'm very accustomed to using Frederica, and I was testing out, I think it's the red anklet and the black anklet. These 2 accessories, basically what they do, the black one, I'm going to be taking damage every single turn, but in return, I deal more damage, I just have higher stats. And then the red anklet, every time I defeat an enemy, I will get a buff to my strength and magic attack, which I think is super duper useful, as it'll allow Frederica to deal a lot of damage. Aside from the my mages, the other characters I'm using, my front line is basically going to be Serenoa, Eridor, Roland, and I also have the old monk. She's pretty cool. She has actually very, very good defense for not being like a armor wearing character, which I think is super duper cool. And then for my healers, I'm going to be using Medina and Gila. Gila and Medina can heal everyone just fine. Usually Medina actually does most of the healing, but what makes Medina particularly useful is the fact that when she heals people, and yeah, I have the resurrection earring there, so it's kind of playing loose. But yeah, with the Medina, she can basically just boost anyone's TP. And as mages typically have a lot of trouble with their TP generation, I'm going to have Medina helping out Frederica and occasionally my shaman as well, to allow them to get more spells out. Because generally it takes 2p to cast the, 2 TP to cast a spell. And so one turn you're casting a spell, the next turn maybe not. So I want to try to help them out with that. And then, let's see, yeah, Gila, when she's trying to help other people out, it's not going to be healing most of the time, at least at first, because there's just not that much damage coming out, as it takes the enemy quite a while to actually get to where I am. So she's just going to be casting haste on people, which I think is pretty useful. And then yeah, over here with this sun spell, it hits such a wide area, the Sunfall, and deals damage based on the amount of TP that you have. I think it is a very cool spell. It's just a little difficult to use based on the literal positioning of it, and that it takes a turn to cast as well. Yeah, actually, I end up using Scorch here. I do use Sunfall later. I just definitely misremembered. The boss here, Kamsell, he just stays there in the back right for a good portion of time, and this is also what influenced my decision to be based on the bottom left side of the map. I just wanted to be on the polar opposite side. It makes it very easy for me to not have to deal with him. It takes quite a few turns before he decides like, oh okay, I do need to go ahead and attack into them. And then again, very nice with Medina. Not only can she heal people, regain their TP, but she can also allow your party members to take extra turns. I think she's the best healer in the game. I highly suggest having her, and especially having her fully upgraded. So yeah, over here you can see there's some of the archers coming over on the right side, but I'm blinding them so they're not able to do too much damage. And then yeah, with Ana there, I can either go for just defeating them, or I can go for the slumber strikes, putting them to sleep so that they will not be too much of a bother. But yeah, that is basically my main strategy here. The mages are just about to engage into me. These mages can be very, very damaging. They have both a shock spell and a wind spell. The wind spell can push you off of the bridge, so you do want to be wary of that. You get pushed back pretty far depending on if there's someone standing behind you or not. And obviously if they're standing behind you, then you're going to slam into them for damage, so you do have to be wary of that. Though it's the shock spell that I think is the biggest issue, as it just deals so much damage. It's a single target spell, so obviously it's going to be a bit more uncomfortable compared to like the ice or fire spells. So yeah, let me just fast forward a bit here, because yeah, the enemies are pretty slow in what they're going to be doing. Yeah, it looks like the caster is also going to take a bit, which should be right around here. Yeah, right here with Frederica getting the Scorch. She gets the red anklet buff for defeating the enemies, so she's going to be dealing more damage. There are more enemies that spawn on the top right and top left sides after you defeat a few. so do be wary of that. Oh, I thought I had that on the caster, but whatever. Either way, I'm pretty sure he just kind of hit me with the one spell there and I got knocked back a bit, but not that big of a deal. Not really anything to worry about too much. And yeah, I was putting some of the enemies to sleep on the goddess's stand, which was helping out, but it is a lot of enemies that make their way over there, so if it is just Anna and Huet, you do need to be careful. You can see Huet actually, I had her back off because she was taking a bit too much damage and I needed the help on the left side. Okay, yeah, there's the Fierce Wind actually. Which, yeah, did do decent damage, but with both Medina and Gila here with me, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm able to heal back through all of that pretty easily. But yeah, that's basically this first section of the fight done. The second section isn't really until, yeah, Kamsell starts to move forward. This is where things are going to get tricky, because yeah, he's going to be moving over, at least with my position, he's going to be moving over to the goddess's stand, which I think is the best place to fight him at, is that way you don't have to worry about the electricity as much, because those mages can stun you, which can be really, really bad. Actually, yeah, let me rewind that just a bit. So yeah, he came up here to fight everyone on the goddess's stand. I was backing up because there's just too many enemies. I'm trying to use like blind, immobility. Like Huet is very useful in preventing what people can do. I wasn't able to get Anna out in time, but my Anna has like 56 something evasion stat, so she's pretty good at dodging, which was very, very nice to see there. Then yeah, right here, I'm going to use the fast acting medication, because Eridor needs to move over there so he can actually help Anna out. I don't want her to die. We're going to use his fully upgraded weapon ability, King's Shield. So that's Fury on everybody. They have to attack him. But more importantly, he also gets a shield that makes him invincible. So he will be able to take hits from everybody, including the boss, and he will take no damage in that duration. So yeah, that's basically what we're going for here. And I generally try to focus the minions first before the boss, as the minions go down a lot faster, and so therefore that's just less damage that I'm taking. I'm also trying to be careful here, as I want to get rid of that mage before he gets his TP back and starts shocking enemies. The shock is very, very painful. But yeah, it's going to take the enemies a few turns to do what they want to do. I'm going to be using Sunfall here, which you can use in tandem, the quietest ability, to actually make it so it only has to go through like one attack. But yeah, that's a very powerful spell when you can hit so many enemies at the same time, and especially if you're boosting her attack on top of that. Frederica is a very, very powerful mage. I highly recommend using her. Yeah, again, like I'm getting hit by the archers and the mages on Eridor, but he had his King's Shield, so he was good. Unfortunately, my King's Shield does run out once it's his turn again, so now I'm just trying to focus on making sure that I can take as many hits as possible and protect my team, because while I no longer have the invincibility, I do still have Provoke to have enemies focus Eridor, and again, he just has really, really high defense. And everybody else, like yeah, the Monk and Anna, they have really high evasion, so those two personally will be fine. But yeah, let's go ahead and fast forward a bit. Actually, that's a little bit too far. Yeah, here we go. So I have the boss here completely surrounded. I was trying to prevent him from attacking into everybody, as he does quite a bit of damage. So just keeping him nice and contained, doing the damage that I can one turn at a time. Let's go ahead and fast forward here a bit. Unfortunately, he does, once he gets like max TP, he'll use that ability you saw him use on Anna earlier, and he can jump out of a position even if you have him fully surrounded, which I was not aware of. I saw that he had the dark black line, but even then I was still a bit confused. But that's okay, I already had him at really low HP, so we'll go ahead and defeat him here, and that is basically the end of the fight. I think there's still like 2 minions I need to go like gather up, but yeah, very straightforward, not a difficult fight, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.